Hello, Santa Clarita Valley Council PTA. This is Heather Ippolito coming to you with our Deeper Learning Series number 5. We're almost to 2 hands. I'm so excited. Melissa needs to put in her headphones so that I'm not hearing myself.
Nope. Well, I was able to get the regular link on my computer, just not to link to talk.
Nice. All right, so Melissa Blansfield, our Santa Clarita Valley Council historian, and I are here today to do a little bit of training with you. So Melissa, say hi.
Take it away. Hi. I'm sitting here comfortably from Castaic, looking forward to teaching you all about being a historian.
Awesome. So I'm going to do the screen share, which takes me a moment to figure out. And let's get our PowerPoint going. God bless Google Slides. All right. So today we are doing Deeper Learning Series number 5, Historian and Teacher Appreciation, because those two things are coming up, the Historian Report and Teacher Staff Appreciation Week. So we're going to do a quick introduction of Melissa and myself. We're going to let Melissa take it away with our historian job summary and telling you all about how to complete your annual historian report. This is really important for historians and presidents to both understand, since you both are responsible for this document. And then together we're going to talk about Staff and Teacher Appreciation Week do's and don'ts, and we'll have some time for questions. Leslie, my EVP, is hanging out at home monitoring the question and comment section. So if you have any questions, she will be texting me to let me know what those are, and we can answer them in real time. All right, so really quickly, my name is Heather Ippolito. I'm the Santa Clarita Council PTA president, overseeing the 33 units across Santa Clarita. And I usually talk about my husband, Ron, and my daughter, Libby, but I've been talking about them for the past 4 webinars. So I figured I would talk about my parents really quickly. That's my mom, Helen, and my dad, Eric. And they both, at a very young age, taught me all about volunteerism and serving and giving back. So I don't know if they're proud of the fact that I'm now working for free all the time, but they're certainly a big part of the reason why I do what I do. All right, Melissa, let's tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Melissa Blansfield. I'm up in our beautiful Castaic part of Santa Clarita. I have 2 wonderful boys and an amazing husband, as seen in the picture. The picture actually was from our 34th District convention down in San Diego, which was wonderful and amazing. So love volunteering. My parents were always very giving and volunteering at our school and our church. So I've just kind of taken up the reins and love being there and love helping, and especially love being there for the teachers and the students. So looking forward to being and teaching you guys about the historian and kind of the importance of that position for us.
And Melissa is not only a fabulous historian, but she has served in countless positions. I know she's been a president and an auditor and a treasurer. What else have you done, Melissa?
Actually, that's it so far.
Okay, but she's rocked all 3 of them. There's always next year, Melissa. Parliamentarian next year.
Oh, so. Parliamentarian, yes. I will be taking over as parliamentarian. I also do sub and work actually in our school district in a number of different positions across our elementary campuses.
Awesome. So a huge variety of experiences here for Melissa. All right, so we're going to start off with the job of the historian.
All right, so basically the job of the historian is, first and foremost, is to be able to collect and capture everything that happened within the 12 months of your school year. It's supposed to gather everything from the fun activities that you have, the programs that you've done. In that process, you're gathering pamphlets and flyers and handouts, pictures, everything that the PTA has covered. The other part that's also as important is collecting and understanding the volunteer hours for our PTAs and our meetings and our events. You collect all of those throughout the year, and then in March it is due to the historian for council, and there's a form we'll go over in a minute that we will complete, and that information is vital. That information rolls up from our council to our district level up to the state and up to the national level. And that is information that our legislators and the people fighting for our students and fighting for the public school system use to show how active and how important our students are, and the parents and the people that are willing to give their time and their energy towards the school. Also to do is to fill out the historian summary reports and again file all the copies of the historian records. This can be done in a couple different ways. You can just have a 3-ring binder with sheet protectors and where you put all your information in chronologically. Some historians get very creative and do more of a scrapbook effect. In today's modern technology, it's something you could even do through a PowerPoint presentation or a photo presentation, where you can also be saving it now on a USB drive as well, so that the information is there and accessible.
And a lot of units are doing a hybrid now. So, they're keeping certain things in the Google Drive or on a USB, and other things they're making a slideshow for a meeting, or, they're doing all sorts of things. So don't feel like you have to pick one. Any of the above or a combination is totally acceptable.
Yes. Whichever is easiest. Some stuff and flyers you can get very easily electronically, and stuff is just easier to get in paper form. So it's just to be able to have that information available for basically the history of your PTA, and to help as new historians come in or people come in from the different chair positions to see what's been provided and what's done in the past, and what information we can use to go forward. Also, copies of minutes, procedure books. There is something called a president's memory book. I will say it's not something I've seen on our campus, but it is something where you could put something together as a memory book as the president for doing her service or his service in the time frame that she's served as president. And then displays or presents brief overview of PTA year at meeting near the end. So at the end, near the end, one of your last things, the historian can do a presentation at one of your final PTA meetings, just kind of giving a nice summary. Again, that can be done just in a nice presentation or handouts, or it can be put together, again, like Heather said, in a nice presentation where it's done electronically and through like a PowerPoint presentation. Something else that's important for the historian is a lot of times they will help with what we call our Founders Day, which is very important to our PTA. It was in the month of February, and it's where we honor and celebrate the beginning of our PTA and the ladies that put it all together in the first place. And so the historian can be part of that as well, or assisting in that, and presenting and making sure that's kept active and vital in our history of PTA.
And another thing that's great that I didn't really think of up until right this second is that end of the year overview that you do as a historian is a really great tool to use at kindergarten roundup to show the new parents, hey, this is why you want to be involved in PTA. Look at all these amazing things we do for the kids. Or at your first welcome back meeting, during that back to school night presentation or whatever it is you do, hey, new families, look at what's happening at this school thanks to the PTA. So you should join, you should be a part of it. When that membership envelope comes home, you want to fill that out so that you're helping be part of that legacy. So that would be a really helpful thing if the historian completes that you can use in multiple areas. And thank you for mentioning Founders Day. I can't believe I didn't put it on there. Got to add that to the slide.
And I mean, it is important, like Heather said, because, and this might go off topic for real quick, but as a historian we do have, especially new parents that come in at any grade level or that come in at the kindergarten level, is a lot of them do not really understand everything that our PTAs do for our campuses. And this is the collecting point of that, the way to make it and present it to them, that all the little things we do, from helping to provide field trips and all of that. And that's all important stuff and information to gather in your process of activities and everything that your PTA does and contributes to your campus.
Absolutely. Well said. All right, let's get to the paperwork.
Oh, yes. So the annual historian report, this can be found out on the CAPTA website and downloaded. And if not, you can always contact any of us on council and we can email you a copy of the form as well. But it is an official PTA form that we need completed. We ask for it to be brought to the March Council Association meeting, which will be on March 22nd this year.
It's also our election meeting, so you got to be there.
Oh, yes, it's our election. Very important.
And our Founders Day, too.
Yes, and we'll be having a celebration for our Founders Day since we didn't have an association meeting in February. So on the form, parts of it that are easy to read and kind of self-explanatory. But again, if any questions come up, always feel free to contact me. I'm trying to pull up a quick form so I can read it. Of course, your vision goes as you get older. So the form just starts off where you're going to put in what your PTA name is. You're going to indicate that you're an elementary school or junior high school. Next to that, you're going to put the district PTA number, which we are the 34th district. Then you're going to put your state PTA identification number. That can be found on all your bylaws. Everybody has their own identification number, but it is listed in the bylaws at the beginning of it. The state PTA number also, I will be sending out a spreadsheet to all the presidents to make sure they know, as well as the historians know, over the last 2 years what numbers you've reported, but also your PTA numbers on there as well. You will indicate, hopefully, that you are the historian completing the report. If not, then indicate who completed the report. You put in your name, the school address, and all that information. The form actually does get signed by the president, not the historian. And then you indicate the total hours that you feel people volunteered on your campus for. So that's where the tricky part comes, or the more cumbersome part of it. Hopefully over the last few months of school that we've had, you've been tracking it. The hours consist of a number of different areas. They consist of room moms and all the hours room moms put in helping in the classroom and planning parties and activities. It consists of all the parents that come in during those celebrations with the room moms. On our campus, we have a number of parents that come in on a set daily, weekly basis to help for an hour or so in the classrooms. It is any of your PTA board that ever steps on the campus that is there in the PTA function to volunteer in a classroom, do PTA work, to do paperwork. It counts for all your executive board meetings, every person. It counts all the time and effort that your individual e-board does prior to the meetings, as counting as hours and times. It counts for adding up all your events, from mother-daughter events to carnival events to movie nights to family nights. It's keeping all those tallied of hours prep the event, for running the event, and then if there's any follow-up or cleanup after the event. Hopefully, if your campus does and completes the paperwork, chair paperwork after every event, on there it asks for that chairperson to put down hours, and by people, how many people helped and what the total hours were. If not, it's something you could talk to your president or your chairperson about for each of those events, or unfortunately, it's kind of calculating what you feel those amounts would be.
And keep in mind, in addition to everything that Melissa said, everything that happens on campus, there's also some stuff that happens off campus. So those parents who take home laminating and cut all those things out, or go home and they're stapling packets for teachers, when you have to tear out of the workbooks and do all that nonsense, all those hours count too. If you're on an executive board and you're sitting at home doing emails, making flyers, answering phone calls, calling, going out and talking to businesses about getting donations, all those hours count. So a lot of times I think we give ourselves a short shrift and we're like, okay, I'm only going to look at that log at the front desk of the school where people sign in. But it's so much more than that. It is all the time that you are giving to your child's school in a volunteer capacity. So make sure that you are keeping track of those hours. At my school, on our executive board sign-in sheet, every month we ask people to indicate their hours. And that's all that extra stuff, those emails and those, prepping all those activities at home. And that helps our historian kind of keep tabs on who's doing what each month. And you'll notice the trends of, wow, the Harvest Festival chair is working a whole lot in the fall, and then they're not really doing much in the spring, or, whatever it is. So that's another way to help you track, is just to have a column on your sign-in sheet. But make sure that you're giving yourself credit for all those hours and all those things that you're doing at home.
Yes. So that's that, filling out the report. I think that's the hardest part, is thinking of all the like Heather said, all the different parts of it. It's people doing stuff at home. It's people going out and trying to get stuff, or gathering, or when you're having an event and running to Sam's Club and stuff. That, that hour it takes you to get to Sam's Club, buy everything at Sam's Club, return it back to the campus. All that is hours that count. So it's important just to total all that up and put it there. Now, with it being due in March, that does mean we have approximately little over 2 months left in our school year prior to the school year ending. That's where you need to also sit down and look at, what amount of e-boards do you still have left? Association meetings do you have left? Do you have events coming up? What are those events? And that's where you have to, how many hours do you get on average for a month of parents and all their volunteering hours? So you have to kind of pre-estimate and pre-calculate that for that remaining time, because you don't want to miss the April and May hours as well.
And those June hours, graduation takes forever.
Yeah.
But who's counting? The other thing is that our historians at the council level do something that's super helpful, and Melissa already talked about it, but she is going to email to me to send out to all the presidents to share with their historians a spreadsheet. So you can see what your hours were for the past 2 years, and your campus, your parents, the trends. So that should help give you at least a baseline of where to start from. And then you can look and you can say, did we do worse this year? Because sometimes policies change at the school district. There are different requirements for being a volunteer. Or sometimes we just have a year where it seems like all the parents are busy and nobody's on campus, and so our volunteerism kind of shrinks. But usually, you hope that every year you're getting more people onto your campus, you're encouraging more people to volunteer. So we're hoping that the trend is to up your numbers every year, but that will at least give you a baseline. I had one school turn in, I think last year, I think they said that they had 168 volunteer hours for the year. And I went, I think you miscalculated because I'm guessing that that's like the smallest committee chair on your whole board. So I went back and looked at their history, and they had, probably 60,000 volunteer hours the year before. So you don't want to cut yourself short on that. So make sure that you're looking at that spreadsheet and figuring out at least a baseline for where to present your hours for the year.
Right. Well, and if you're a historian that will be with us again next year, or you're on your way out and we have a new historian coming in, the thing to think about also is, like Heather said, I know in our school district, we have a whole new policy of how we check in on our campuses now. So we aren't writing our name on a piece of paper anymore and putting what time we check in and what time we check out and clicking off a little PTA box of volunteering. It's all automated. So it's also working with your office staff at your campus and being able to see how you can gather the information of parents that have come on the campus to assist in the classrooms. I've already talked to our office manager, and she's going to be able to run me something electronically every month that tells me how many people and how many hours they were there on campus
That's
to volunteer and serve.
awesome.
So, but
Oh,
I mean,
that's really
it's
cool.
in that respect, it may make it easier instead of sitting there adding up hour after hour after hour on, 30 sheets of paper. But at the same time, it is something to consider that, and I'm assuming if our small district's done it, a lot of the bigger districts are doing it. They are changing for the safety of our kids how people check into campus to volunteer. So it's something to keep in mind going forward as well.
Yes. All right. I haven't gotten a text from Leslie, so I'm guessing that we are question free at this point. So we are going to move on to Staff and Teacher Appreciation Week. So there is a week indicated by National PTA. So this year it's May 7th to the 11th is National Teacher Appreciation Week. And I believe that May 8th is Day of the Teacher, if memory serves, either the 8th or the 9th. However, you can move your Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week around to where it best fits for you. I would highly suggest, though, that if you're going to move it too far away from the National Week of the Teacher, that you just let your staff know. 2 or 3 years ago, it butted up right against convention. And our association had decided that we were going to move it back a week. And apparently, somehow we had not communicated that to the teachers, and all the teachers were moping around all week. PTA is not doing anything for us. They don't like us. And we were like, no, nobody's here this week. We're all at convention. We're doing it next week. So just make sure that you are making that announcement clear. And also your association has to approve when you're doing it anyway. So hopefully it's already on your calendar. We need to remember to recognize not just our child's classroom teachers, but all the teachers on campus. There are speech teachers and special education teachers. There are physical therapy teachers, occupational therapy teachers, lots and lots and lots of other folks on campus who are credentialed teachers now that we need to recognize. And along that same line, not only do we need to recognize all of the certificated staff, but we also need to recognize all the classified staff. So sometimes we tend to just focus on Johnny's classroom teacher. And, we need to make sure that Mrs. Smith feels recognized and appreciated. But let's not forget about the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, all those ladies who are working on the yard, the noon supervisors, classroom aides, the office ladies, your school nurse, your administration. Sometimes we don't quite know where to put them. They are certificated, but we don't really put them with the teachers, and they're not really classified, so we don't really put them with the staff. Don't forget to recognize your principals and assistant principals. They are working just as hard as everybody else, oftentimes harder. So make sure when you're sitting down and creating your plan that you have an idea to include all of those people. I can specifically speak to Leona Cox. We actually do 2 separate appreciation weeks. We do a staff appreciation week because on our campus, we have approximately 70 classified staff. We have a large special education population. And so we were finding it really challenging to balance recognizing the certificated teachers and the classified at the same time. So we separated them out, and we wanted to make sure that we really were able to completely focus on everybody. So we do one of them, then we take a week off, and then we do the other. And the really beautiful thing about that is that for our classified, we send home a flyer, which I'd be happy to share with anybody who wants to see it. And we've designated a special day for each one of our classified staff. So Monday, it might be all about the librarian and the cafeteria workers. And Tuesday, it's all about bus drivers and the office ladies. And we give them suggestions of things to do for those people. But we want to make sure that we're bringing to the parents' mind, don't forget these people are helping your child be successful just as much as the classroom teachers are. So we want to make sure that we're bringing that to their attention. And in order to Make sure that everyone understands what's happening. Involve your room parents, your communications chair, so they can put posts on Facebook and Instagram or Twitter or whatever stellar social media that you have. Put it on your website to get the word out to the families about what's planned, when it's happening, and how they can participate. All right, Melissa, we've come to the moment.
The do's and the don'ts.
The do's and the don'ts. So we want to make sure there are a couple pitfalls with staff appreciation. And as council, it is part of our responsibility to make sure that you don't fall into any of those pitfalls. So we have said this at multiple trainings. We're now going to say it on film. This will be recorded for posterity. Hopefully, when you hear these things, you will keep them in mind, because these are policies not just for Staff Appreciation and Teacher Appreciation Week, but for all year long. So, Melissa, you want to do the do's or the don'ts?
Oh, I'll do the don'ts.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to do so the first do is to find ways to make your staff feel recognized. In a later slide, we're going to talk about some different ideas that we have, but we want to make sure that we are making all of our staff, from the custodians all the way up to the principal, we are finding ways to make them feel special and thank them for what they do. But there's a don't to that.
I didn't know if you're going all the way down. I see how this works. All right. So the don't to making them all feel special is you can't buy personalized gifts. So you have to be very careful. You can't pick out and buy personalized gifts for a teacher or for a staff member or for the principal. It is it's listed in the toolkit in regards to, you can't. I don't know how else to say it. You just can't. you can't make it personalized.
Is that we want to recognize these people, right? It would be lovely if we could buy everybody a picture frame, or if we could buy everybody a bouquet of flowers, or if we could, Mrs. Smith, her father just died, let's send her a bouquet of flowers. All those things we cannot do with PTA funds. It is absolutely a no-no. It is not allowed. So if something like that happens, someone has a baby, someone has a death in the family, someone has something amazingly wonderful that happens to them, we can do what's called passing the hat. And that means at an association meeting or an executive board meeting, we can say, you know what? Our principal just had her first grandbaby, and we would like to send flowers to her. We're going to pass this little bucket around, and if you want to donate to help us purchase flowers, then that's what we're going to do. But we can't actually take PTA funds and go to the florist and buy that. That's just not allowed. All right, on to the happy years. Do request donations from local businesses and families. Lots of businesses love teachers, and they want to show their appreciation. We've gotten $100 gift cards to restaurants donated in the past. We've had amazing food sent over from businesses. We've had people donate massages and all sorts of amazing things. These are fabulous ways to recognize your staff. But you cannot purchase gift cards. And it's not just for Staff Teacher Appreciation Week. It's for any of our events. You're not able to use the PTA funds to go out and purchase Target or gift cards for restaurants or Office Depot or even Amazon, where they could go out and they could purchase stuff. Our PTA funds are for the children and for our campus. They're not, it kind of falls somewhat back into having personal gifts. But as Heather said, there's donations. On my campus at Live Oak, what we've done for at least the 4 years of teacher staff appreciation that I have run personally so far is I send out letters to even all of my parents on our campus. We're not as big as Heather's school, so but we send it out, and I send out a letter, and it specifically says, we'd like to be able to provide certain things for our teachers, and we even get our parents to donate. I ask for a $10 or $15 gift card that we're able to donate and raffle off or give back to
to our staff and our teachers and our administrators. But it's all through a donation process through our parents. It's not something where we're using any of our funds from our PTA, because we can't use that. You can't use the funds. Again, our funds are strictly for helping and advancing our students. Unfortunately, as much as we'd like to honor and celebrate our teachers and our staff and all they do for us, that's not what the funds are there for us.
All right, do plan theme days with clever ideas that allow all students to participate. This means that not every theme day should have a price tag attached to it. Sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, okay, so Monday we could buy the teacher's favorite candy, and Tuesday we could buy their favorite office supply, and Wednesday we could buy. Be cognizant that not every family is able to go out and buy lots of things. So we are going to give you some ideas that are free, or with things that they already have in their household, or maybe even things that they might walk past on their way to school. But we need to make sure that all students are allowed to participate. And so we need to make sure that you might have a day where you're asking them to purchase something to bring in for a staff member or a teacher, but we also need to give them other options so that we're not disenfranchising anybody.
Are we ready to go to the don'ts?
Sure.
So with the don't, I guess the don't kind of falls along with, again, don't make it so hard that we do have families and parents that feel like they're not able to contribute and be part of it. And we definitely don't want to make sure that nobody is left out. As Heather indicated, our yard supervisors, to our librarian, to our music teacher, to our computer lab teacher, to our custodian, to the cafeteria staff, they're all vital, and they're all important, and they all give so much to our students in helping them and guiding them just as much as our teachers do. So one way to do that is make sure you follow up with your office manager and make sure you have a complete list of who comes to our campus and who is there. As an example, on our campus, our nurse, our counselor, our occupational therapist, they're only there once a week. They're not on our campus, so they're easily to be forgotten, but they're just as vital and as important as the one that's on our campus. So it's always important to make sure that from your office manager, you have a complete list of all employees from classified to certified that attend and help on our campus are included in the event, and make them feel just as special and as loved and as thanked as the teacher in the classroom.
Well, and I love that you said partner with your office manager. The other person I would highly suggest to bring in on this is your principal, because sometimes they'll say, oh, wait, what about, our counselor? Our counselor isn't necessarily a staff member, but they're on our campus once a week. Or so they sometimes are able to remind you of people that might not be on that staff roster that your office manager has, but that definitely, like Melissa said, are people that we want to make sure that we're recognizing. And then the last do is make sure this event is in your PTA budget. You are able to use these funds for some hospitality, and we're going to give you some ideas in just a second on how to do that. Because while you can't purchase gifts for what we call inbox gifts for everyone, you can purchase some food for a staff luncheon or a staff breakfast, as long as it is in your PTA budget and that it has been approved by your association prior to you actually spending the money.
Well, and it's also important the don't is don't go over a certain amount. I know in our Live Oak bylaws, it specifically says what portion of funds we're allowed to use for these type of events, based on what comes in, what we average on it on a yearly basis. So
and that is actually a PTA requirement, that a certain percent of your budget, you can't go above a certain percent of your budget for hospitality, and this would fall into that as well. So spoken like a true treasurer and auditor for telling me not to go over budget. I like it. All right, so we have just a couple of ideas, and then Melissa and I are going to kind of throw some things out off the fly. But a lot of schools like to theme each day of the week. And so you'll see on here a combination of some things that require a a cost and some things that don't. Writing a note. This, I have been a teacher my whole life, and I have to tell you that the one thing that I have kept all these years are the notes from my kids. There's nothing more precious to me than what the students say, and along those lines, the parents. So if you can encourage the families at your school to write a note of appreciation to anyone on your campus, I know that that's something that would be hugely appreciated. You could even have before school or at recess a little note writing station where you have paper and stickers and markers, and you can let the kids create their own just in case they forgot to do it at home or they didn't do it at home. That's another really fun service that you can provide. Just make sure that if you're going to do it on the playground, that it's not windy like it was the year I did it and we had to chase papers all across the yard. But I guess that made it a little more sporting as we were chasing construction paper across the playground. Another one is to bring a flower to teacher. This is one where you partner with your room parent and you ask them to bring a vase or a mason jar or something, and each student brings in one flower for the teacher, and then when you all come together, you have created a bouquet for them. I know at Leona Cox, we have taken this kind of one step farther. We go to Sam's Club or Costco and buy the big bushels of flowers. I know some people go down to the flower market, and we sell them to the kids for $1 a stem. And basically we just break even on our costs. And then everybody's able to take a flower to the teacher, even if they didn't have, a rose bush at home or they weren't able to go to the grocery store that morning. We just sell them about 30 minutes before school that day. And we advertise that in our Staff Appreciation Week note.
Well, and something our campus has done is same thing. We go get the big bushels, but we put it in our staff lounge with a special note indicating that our classified staff, we make sure we have enough that one is for each of them as well. That because we know our teachers do get a bundle of flowers, but again, we want to make sure our librarian to our office manager to our yard staff all know they're just as appreciated. So we provide a vase full of flowers in our staff lounge with a note indicating that we're thinking about them, we're thankful for them, and for them to each please take a flower as a thank you for their service.
I love that. I'm going to steal that, Melissa. Sorry. Another one is to get, especially along the write a note line, especially for if you have preschool, TK, or kindergarten, you could say write a note or draw a picture. Again, some of our littles can't quite put their thoughts into words yet. So drawing a picture is another really fun, simple, cost-effective way to show their appreciation. We ask all of our staff to fill out a little favorites sheet at the beginning of the year. We ask them what their favorite color is and their favorite flower and their favorite holiday and Starbucks drink and all these different things. And then we use that during Staff Appreciation Week, and we choose, it's usually the Friday of Staff Appreciation Week, and we ask the kids in the class to wear their teacher's favorite color. So Mrs. McConnell's favorite color is green, so every kid wore green head to toe, all shades, didn't matter. We looked like giant leprechauns, but it was really fun. It was a very easy way for kids to participate. Again, very low threshold. You don't really have to go out and buy stuff. You can usually find something in their favorite color in your closet. A lot of schools do decorate the teacher's door or do a poster. This is, again, a great way to involve your room parents. You can get each of the kids to color a little bee on, a little bee cutout, and then the title could say, "We'd be lost without you, Mrs. Smith," and then all the kids could have their bees around it. Pinterest is the best for this because you just search teacher appreciation doors and bing, 3,000 of them pop up. It's a really fun thing. I would highly suggest, though, that if you're going to do this, first of all, start early. Second of all, be prepared that not every room parent is going to do this. So you as PTA are going to need to fill in the gaps, because what you don't want to have happen is for 30 oh my gosh, excuse me, 30 of the
Oh,
35 teachers to get doors, and the last 5 to have a big gaping hole. So you really need to make sure that you are prepared. And this sometimes takes a lot of extra work, but you need to make sure that you are prepared to completely plaster every teacher's door. So that means that morning when you look around and Mr. Jones doesn't have a door, you might need to scramble and come up with one real fast for Mr. Jones.
yeah, and not on our campus, in regards to the theme, we actually are who runs our events, which for the last 4 years it's been myself. It's a campus-wide theme. So I start off with a specific theme that we're going to do. So when we get to the door decorating part, it's revolved around a specific theme, and then we actually whatever cutouts or we want them to color, we have go home the week before too. And then again, it's working with the room moms to let them know, okay, the day we want the doors decorated, we need you there. If you can't be there, to try to find another parent, or the days we do the flowers. We ask that the room parent be there to help kind of gather all the bouquets and the flowers that come in, and make a pretty presentation for the teachers. But unfortunately, we do as a PTA board. That's the days that we give that little extra and are there, because we definitely don't want any one of our teachers' doors not decorated. And we go as far as also looking at our special library, to our computer lab, to our music teacher doors, and the different doors that don't have a regular class. We make sure that decorations and things are done with the theme, as well as those doors as well, or the front office door, so that everyone does feel included in the process.
Well, since you mentioned it, Melissa, can you tell us some of your themes? Because I might want to steal those too.
Oh, now you're asking. Oh, off the top of my head. We had oh, good grief, I didn't think to print out. I have them all tracked, so I can send it to you, Heather, and we can attach it to this program if you want. We've done superhero themes. We've done a Winter Wonderland theme. We've done a Western theme tied into. We've done a Hawaiian theme. So we pick a whole theme for the whole campus, so everybody knows. And like you said, we already have preset for those 5 days. It usually starts off with decorating the door, to like you've said, we've moved to like them writing a special note or something. We've had days where it's bring your teacher a treat. Again, we have the teachers as well fill out that survey, so we're able to send home to those parents saying, your teacher likes milk chocolate, your teacher likes dark chocolate, your teacher likes anything that has caramel in it. And then the teacher gets overwhelmed with, candy bars or something sweets or treats.
They end up with 30,000 Twix before the week is over. Yes. Yeah.
And I will guarantee you, especially with it being in May, they, at least on our campus, they only have about another 2 weeks to go before school gets out. They definitely enjoy having the sugar in the classroom and for the long days, and prepping the final report cards, and ending the school year, and getting their classrooms cleaned and straightened out. And sometimes it's bring your teacher a favorite treat. Sometimes they get a cute little stuffed animal. I mean, that's, it's amazing to see what these kids and these parents come across with, what they feel will be a special treat for their teacher. And sometimes we do it where, again, like Heather said, you're wearing a favorite color, or like superhero theme. One day they got to dress up in their superhero contest, or the Friday they got to wear their PJs or something. Sometimes it's something fun, but it's not something that's going to cost some of our parents funds that don't have the ability to go and spend, $20, $30 at the store on a teacher, but they still get to feel part of the event. In kind of moving into, I'm jumping on Heather, but moving into hospitality, every Wednesday of that week, we, after school, because it's a short day, we put on a huge teachers luncheon for our teachers and our staff. We have about 60 to 70 total, not just on one side, total.
Yeah.
But we do it with donations. I mean, we use some of our hospitality funds, but we do it a lot where we've got a number of restaurants and places We've also done it where every day that are willing to be like, that's no problem. I'll bring enough donuts on Monday morning. So there's always donuts at lunchtime, and or at their recess time. And another parent will be like, well, I'll be. So a lot of times we just have parents coming out of the woodwork that are willing to pick up. So every morning recess, there's something in our staff lounge for our teachers to nibble on for the day. Our campus does every Friday. We do a special breakfast and we take it to our bus drivers
Oh, that's
to
cool.
their depot. We take our president and our secretary of our student council along with the teacher, and we go and we set up and we donate and give them, goodies when they're on their way back from their drop-offs from school starting. We wait till they come back from their school drop-offs. So
Awesome.
there's so many different things, and sometimes it's the simplest things that really help our teachers and our staff feel appreciated and stuff,
All right,
and making sure you include all the kids in the process.
Melissa, we have our first question. Leslie
Oh,
just
okay.
texted me. I'm so excited. The question is, does CAPTA have a theme that they are using statewide? statewide? And the answer is no. They let you pick what the theme is for your particular school. It's not like Reflections where you're given something. You can get some really great staff appreciation ideas both on the national PTA site, which is pta.org, and on CAPTA, goodness, which is capta.org. So talking a little bit more about hospitality, thanks, Leslie, for giving us that question. Speaking about hospitality, Melissa already gave you some really great ideas. Some other things that have worked at certain schools, they've done like candy bars where they've asked families to donate bags of candy and you just set it all up in the staff lounge and they come in and it's Willy Wonka land. Our school is a Title I school, and so we have a lot of moms who are fabulous at making tamales and salsa. So one year we asked families to bring in their family salsa, and PTA bought tortilla chips, lots of different blue corn and white corn and all sorts of different tortilla chips. And we had a salsa bar. And let me tell you, that was the most amazing snack I've ever had in my whole life. It was so fun to see all the different salsas that came in. There were green salsas and red salsas and mild salsas and really, really hot salsas, which made your head explode. It was so fun. Another thing that's been a really big hit at our site is we started, I want to say 3 years ago, what's called the snack cart. And we set up a sign up genius and we put it out on our Facebook page. And we ask families to donate popular snacks that our teachers like, all prepackaged. So, it's the little packages of Chips Ahoy cookies and granola bars and string cheese and fruit, just grab and go things. And then we decorate a rolling cart based on our theme. And we push this cart across our whole campus on one day. One day we do it for classified, and then another day we do it for the teachers. And we have drinks in a little ice bucket, and we have all sorts of things, and we roll it into the classrooms, and the kids are like, what? And the staff is like, it's for us, not for you. And they get to pick whatever they want. It is hysterical to watch us push this thing around, but it has been such a huge hit. And again, it's all donated items. Our families are so generous, like Melissa was saying. I think the only thing we've ever had to purchase for it was the ice to keep all the drinks cool. But as we're going through campus, we're constantly refilling the cart so it looks full and beautiful. We've even had, decorations and flowers on the cart just to make it look pretty. So that was a really fun hospitality idea for our staff. Talking about gifts, I know we said you can't purchase gifts. Oh, you have another hospitality?
Heather, I just real quick on hospitality. Yeah. I don't know if other districts do it, but on our district, we coordinate just so we understand, and we usually coordinate with our principal because she knows when it's going to happen. Or you can coordinate with your district office, but our district office provides a special lunch for our teachers one of the days during the week. usually and stuff. And so we try to coordinate making sure, depending on what if we're providing hospitality or food, we don't, overdo. That
Smart.
way the food doesn't. So always make sure with your district or with your principal, is the district doing something, is there something else special coming in from somewhere else, so that there's not tons of extra food. They get to enjoy it. And we kind of spread it out through the week.
Smart, smart, smart. All right, so we told you couldn't buy gifts, but that doesn't mean that the teachers can't get gifts. So one of my favorite ways to fill those boxes with inbox gifts is PTA convention. Those vendors that are on the convention floor, they bring tons of samples and things to entice you to come, bring their popcorn fundraiser, their candy fundraiser to your school. But the cool thing is that at the end of convention, they don't want to take those things home with them. So our school has gotten really, really good at making friends with certain people on the convention floor. And on the very last day of convention, hitting up certain booths. A couple of years ago, we ended up with Popcornopolis for, I don't know, 20 or 30 people. We ended up with Yankee Candle, those little air fresheners that you hang in your car. We ended up with those for a bunch of people, and we were able to stick cute little tags on there that we made and put them as little inbox gifts. Again, no money changed hands. We didn't pay for any of those. We got them at convention. We've already talked a lot about donations. A local business might want, a bakery might want to bake a cookie for every staff member, and you can put it in a cute little bag with a little note on it. All those things are okay. We just can't have money change hands for those things. Another school, I believe it was Valley View, was telling me that they wash the windshields for their teachers. So the PTA executive board, once the teachers all go into class and the staff members, they take Windex and paper towels and they go from car to car and they make sure that those windshields are beautiful for when they come out. Again, they're only spending money on Windex and paper towels. They're not actually like hiring a car wash company to come out and wash them, but they themselves are going out and doing the work and doing that as a service to their staff. Is there anything else you can think of, Melissa?
No, I'm the biggest gifts usually are just helping,
Yes.
and getting donations, and it can even be, helping giving a little extra help in the classroom and everything. But the best part is if you really, really reach out to your parents, they want to give.
Mm-hmm.
They want to give, and they do and stuff.
Yes.
And they can give from food to gift cards for you to be able to try to collect enough to be able. Our campus has been blessed. Again, in the 4 years I've done it, I have been able to get enough donations that every single one of my staff, from teacher to classified to certified, however they serve on our campus, and there's usually, like I said, 60 to 65 of them, every single one of them walks out with a minimum of a $20 gift card after their luncheon. And that is 100% completely from donations.
That's awesome. And at our site, we have more staff, so we aren't able to quite do it up to the Live Oak standard. However, we
also have less. We have less. Our staff is your special needs staff.
That's true. So what we do is we take all those gift cards and we take some of the swag from convention and make cute little gift bags, and we do a daily drawing. And so we put all the staff members' names into a pot. Everybody is equal, from our, like I said, from our custodian all the way up to our principal. Everybody is completely in the pot, and we pull. And so each day we give away anywhere from 3 to 5 gifts for the staff. And they love it because they hear their friends getting called, or sometimes they get to get called. And we have all the gifts just sitting in the principal's office, and they get to pick which one feels lucky to them. Some of them are gift wrapped and oddly shaped. Some of them are in gift bags, so you can't tell what it is. It's fun to watch them, feel them and shake them and try to determine which gift speaks to them. But again, it's another great way of taking the donations that you get from local businesses or families and stretching them, making them last. So
Which is a great alternative depending on if you have like you guys have a huge abundance of employees or you don't get a lot. I mean, it's great that's a great field to be able to just, every day a couple people get to be raffled off to them. So
right. And we make it fun when we're on
yeah.
those morning announcements and drum roll please. And the kids, all go crazy if their teacher gets called. So it's really, really fun. All right. Well, Leslie texted me our one question, but this is the moment. If you have any other questions, as always, you can contact Melissa or myself by accessing the scvpta.org website. I'm hoping that you're all checking that out. I'm really, really trying to keep it very current. I just added a ton of stuff to the March calendar this weekend. It is a great resource for you. There are links to all of the previous webinars that we've done. There will be a link to this webinar so you can watch it again should you not have had a chance to see it all the way through, or you just thought it was so fabulous that you want to listen to it again. There are also links to different forms on there. I will hook up the annual historian report on there when I get off of this call so that that is another resource to you. There is also links to all of our PTA partners, which are great people to contact for donations because they've already shown that they are supportive of the PTA. Oh my goodness. And I'm going to start coughing now, so it's probably time. So thank you so much, Melissa. Awesome job.
It was fun.
How was your first webinar? You survived?
I survived and it was fun. I can handle this.
Awesome. All right. Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, we're going to come to you next month. Leslie Powell and I are going to talk about transition time and how to go from the old board to the new board and things that happen during that transition time. We have a couple of other ideas for some webinars that are going to come before the end of the year. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. It kind of looks rainy outside, so be careful out there and have a great night. Thanks, Melissa.
Night.
Bye, guys.